If you are a fan of Beyonce, you might have heard of the word feminist from one of her famous songs in her self-titled album from 2013 called Flawless. In the song, she highlights feminism as defined by Nigerian novelist Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie's highly acknowledged TED Talk called We Should All Be Feminists.
I am a feminist. And when I looked up the word in the dictionary that day, this is what it said. Feminist, a person who believes in the social, political, and economic equality of the sexes.
To dive in deeper, feminism is inclusive to individuals of various races, cultures and traditions, sexual orientation, financial and social status, and religions. It does not intend to overlap certain groups over another, but to help build a cohesive and harmonious coexistence between them. Having said that, there is still a lack of visibility in numerous Filipino activists who have made compelling contributions to activism and are tending to issues of poverty, social injustice, and violence in the Philippines. This has caused Filipinos around the world to make their very own spaces, associations, and distributions all together for their voices to be heard.
So, for my works of art, I'm mostly an illustrator, but I also do graphic design. For my illustrations, it's usually do digital painting because it's easier for me, and I like to draw girls mostly because I know they're just fun to draw. And for my graphic design, I volunteer at Tila Filipina, which is the organization for Filipino comfort women. So, our graphic design there is usually portrays the lolas and a lot of their past protests. So, yeah. In my art, my usual art, no, I don't usually convey a deeper message. I mostly just draw girls doing stuff or fan art. However, my thesis is about the comfort woman, so it's a comic, but yeah, it's trying to convey a message about the state of the comfort women movement here in the Philippines because it's mostly forgotten. So we're using the platform of a graphic novel to show the state of the movement. To get my message across, I think for me it's important to keep artwork simple, and to get a message across, it's important to use the way the character looks or expressions or how they're acting to, convey what they mean. So basically, that's it for me. My chosen art medium helps convey the message of my artwork because, well, first of all, it's the skill I'm best at, which is illustrating, but also I'm the type to show how I feel rather than just say it. So it's easier for me to put it in an illustration or a drawing instead of just writing it out or saying it.
Female art battle for equivalence and allowed access to places that promote and show artworks. It also radically affects the traditional way of making art and has since tested the history books and art galleries, areas that are predominantly exclusive to male artists. This also encourages female representation to be included and be recognized in the field of art. Historically, first wave feminism allowed for the organization and curation of art galleries and shows featuring distinction among male and female artists and conventional, more traditional methods of art production. Second wave artists were those critiquing institutions that documented a canon and create art pieces, noting how they were specifically exclusionary to women. They questioned historical texts and publications that pushed women out of canon in order to focus primarily on a white male perspective on creativity and genius.
For a long time, the term arts and crafts or simply craft work have been treated as woman-centered and oftentimes being valued less as an art form and dismissed in the utilitarian aspect of work. This, in comparison to fine arts, wherein the standard male figures are treated such geniuses, praising them for having created higher forms of art, is why feminist artists and historians strive to elevate craft work to the same level of skill and aesthetic recognition. In third wave feminism, feminist artists address a wider set of issues in terms of gender, race, class, and violence against minorities.
Feminist artists acknowledge that the outdated hierarchy could not be transcended completely because gender is socially constructed. Therefore, discrimination is repeatedly enacted and promoted by society. With that, these artists aim to expand the definition of art to be more inclusive from subject matter to media. Feminist artists pioneered the use of mixed media and performance techniques to display and interpret the body on their own terms. In the Philippine context, men have dominated the art world as well. But despite of Philippine history not giving pressing importance in the role of Filipinas in Philippine art progression, they have been proven to be crucial in its formation.
My work of art engages with the human rights issue because the comfort women in the Philippines still haven't gotten justice, and for the most part they've been forgotten, like I said. So what happened to them in the past was horrible. I think with art, with illustrating what happened back then, of course not too detailed, but to show what happened to them will help people have an understanding, why they're still fighting for justice even though most of them have passed away, or why they're still doing and why people are continuing the movement.
Simply put, the intention of a Filipino feminist artist is to provide an accurate perspective or a point of view of the Filipino women throughout history. One issue that a Filipino artist must recognize is the fact that the art world is predominantly male-female, so that they have to recognize how oppressive this was to females throughout the past, socially and historically. So one form of protest that Filipino artists go through is by creating art that encourages gender positivity, encourages body positivity, and that also empowers women through many ways, maybe paintings, statues, or even performance art.
Feminism in art has allowed women to take part in revolutions.
Actually, yes, I agree. The slow and steady rise of feminism here in the Philippines is actually rooted in the female artists and art which they produce, which is actually geared towards women to help fight oppression. And then in the 1970s, female feminists, or feminists rather, in the Philippines, they actually made a political unit called the Makibaka, which actually helped fight oppressions against women. According to a 2005 presentation titled Women of the First Quarter Storm of 1970 by Tagiwalo from the Department of Women and Development Studies of the University of the Philippines, the Makibaka unit protested brutality against Filipino women like sexual trafficking, domestic violence, and other forms of systematic oppression. They vocalized the rights of local farmers, participated in labor strikes, and encouraged the reproductive health and wellness of impoverished women by setting up clinics and nurseries. They staged the first demonstration against a beauty pageant and organized the first International Women's Day celebration, which involved the Women's March Against Poverty under martial law. Several Makibaka activists became victims of kidnap, rape, and murder due to their politics.
So, feminist art was and continues to be a unique model of activism that helps shape feminist theory and politics for generations to come.
People or artists have different ideas on how they create their own art, and feminist artists are the ones who strengthen women and bring them to equality. Feminist artists are empowering women with the use of art.
I think a good way to show feminist issues, because for the most part the art world has been dominated by men, so it's nice to see women using this form of media to show their stance on their political or religious beliefs. I call myself a feminist, and I do hope that one day my art will be a vessel of feminism, because otherwise what else would my art be for if
I can say that it depends on the artist, on how they can represent the aspirations of a nation or their hope. Depends on the artist's experiences of how they perceive or see the country.
Yeah, I do believe art represents hope and aspirations of a nation, because from what I've seen with Filipino artists is that they like to show what changes, like what issues we could fix here. So
Well, I don't think if there's a way for the art to facilitate questioning of traditions, communities, and nations, but I think that art is something where people, if they see the art, if people see the art, they can feel something, and um, those people who see the art are the ones who has their own perspective, and they are the ones who have their own opinion about it, like if they're gonna be moved about it or if they're just gonna ignore the message that the art is bringing. So I can say that the art is just there. It's up to the people if they're gonna get the message or if they're gonna be moved by the message of the artwork.
yes, I do believe that art can question or facilitate the questioning of traditions, communities, and nations, because the right artwork could help stir people's emotions, and they can start questioning, especially here in a patriarchal society. The right artwork could help, illustrate the issues with this kind of society and the way the Catholic Church controls women's bodies. So, yeah, if the message is conveyed right in that artwork, it could help people question it